Hello, everyone from Paris and Roland Garros, and welcome back to more of our Olympic Tennis Daily. I am Christopher Clarey, former tennis writer for the New York Times. I am now a full-time author who wrote the master on Roger Federer, who at least for another day or two is still the only one of the big three or big four or big five to retire.
Bonjour Chris, bonjour à tous. I am Romain Vinot, tennis journalist, and your French accent in Paris during the Olympics.
It's nice to hear that French accent, Romain.
Merci.
Hey, it felt like summer in your city today, which was nice. It was positively hot and steamy, which was kind of hard to believe if you saw the rainy opening ceremony last week when it felt like you needed a winter parka at times. But very different today, and the crowds jammed in with the sunscreen and lots of expectation for Djokovic, Nadal, number 60, numéro 60, if we're throwing around our French tonight. It was jammed in here. The press box was packed. Really hard to get a spot in that massive press box because people were coming from all over the Olympic community, journalists and federation chiefs and everybody else to get a peek at what might be the last Nadal Djokovic. We will see. Djokovic said he actually felt more pressure than at a Grand Slam match because of all the hype about the match coming into it and the fact that, you only play in the Olympics every 4 years and there's lots of chances to play each other during the year. But if this was the last dance, it was definitely not a ballet. It was more like a YouTube clip compared to some of the other epics. This one lasted just 1 hour and 43 minutes, which is short even for a best of three match if you're talking about Nadal. And just a blink compared to some of their past marathons, like their almost 6-hour match in Australia 2012 final that Djokovic won. And it actually looked like it might even be shorter than that. When Djokovic started out 6-1, 4-love up. And Djoko called that almost the perfect start. And honestly, I'm not picking sides here, but it was a little bit painful to watch Nadal, the king of clay, get demoted to vassal like that. But he rose up, saved some face. Djokovic dropped back, and the final score ended up being a respectable 6-1, 6-4. And Djokovic had to do some pretty good stuff to close it out from 4-all. He finished it with an ace, and honestly, he deserved this one. He really bullied Nadal around the clay. He rushed him expertly, and he hit his two-handed backhand so well, especially cross-court, carved a bunch of drop shots, pounced on short balls, and basically just gave a geometry lesson to Nadal, which is a pretty hard thing to do on clay. And as I wrote in my piece today, for much of this match, it just seemed like Djokovic was a full step ahead, figuratively and literally. And Djokovic told us that was the game plan. He wanted to rush Nadal. He's not as quick as he used to be. He wanted to give him little time to get organized. And it worked. What did you think, Roma?
Chris, I know we are not the same age, of course.
Oh, you have to reveal that, do you? Okay, great.
But the Djokovic-Nadal rivalry is maybe the greatest I've ever known, with the Federal, of course. There have been 60 matches, and which is an incredible record, and some absolutely gigantic encounters, quarterfinals, semifinals, and of course many finals. I'm thinking of the numerous clashes at Roland Garros, because we are here in Paris, but also of course the semi-final in Madrid in 2009, the Australian Open final in 2012, and the Wimbledon semi-final maybe in 2018. And Chris, when the match started, I was expecting to relive it, like a flashback to that blessed era. Even though we've known for many months now that it would be soon be over. But obviously the first set didn't live up to expectation at all. But in the second, just at the match seemed to be over at 4-1, like you said earlier, Nadal came back into the game, and both players produced their best game. Nadal, yes, I guess, at the same time to equalize at 4-4, and just for this point, it was a craziest rally of the match. Both men put out to the net, and it was followed by literally an explosion sur le cours Philippe Chatrier. And yeah, I think it was like stepping back in time, 10 years maybe, for just a few minutes. And I think that was everyone was waiting for. But yeah, you said that in the end the result was obviously logical for Djokovic. He deserved to win, but this match was about more than just a result for me.
Yeah, I can see why. I mean, it's symbolic. To be honest with you, Roman, I was flashing back to 2015 and the same stadium, quarterfinal, and that was the most lopsided loss ever for Nadal during the French Open. Djokovic beat him 7-5, 6-3, 6-1. And the reason why I was thinking about that match was because, honestly, in 2015, it looked like Nadal was done really being a factor. He was having a really hard time winning matches against Djokovic. He looked like he was sort of, for one of the rare times in his career, really low on confidence. It appeared that his time had passed, and that was the way it had worked in the past when the King of Clay sort of gave up his crown. He didn't get it back. Well, I was just thinking that was almost 10 years ago. And so what an amazing thing that Nadal has been able to resurrect his career to the degree that he has, and that Djokovic has become the great champion consistently, great big match, big point player that he's become. And they've had so many great duels since then. So I'm hesitant always to count any of these great champions out. This certainly appears to be a symbolic, probably a possibility that it's the last one. But ultimately, I think the Nadal thing was important to him. Of course it is. He's ahead 31-29 now in this 60-match rivalry, which is insane as to say. But he cares much, I think, less about beating Nadal here and much more about the gold medal. He's never won it. And now he's in a situation where not all the top players are here. Only 5 of the top 10 that came into the Olympic tournament because of injuries and withdrawals. And now who's he have in the round of 16? He plays Dominic Kupfer, German player with U.S. roots from the college game. Good player, but no great player. They played once before, played a 3-setter in Rome 2020 during the pandemic year. It was a tough match, 3 sets on the clay. But you got to like Novak's chances in that. And then if he gets to the quarters, he'd be playing Sebastian Baez or Stefanos Tsitsipas, who he's played before at Roland Garros in a final. So, I mean, on his side of the draw and the situation, it's not unthinkable. Alcaraz is on the other side. But, Djokovic has a real shot at a good deep run again here in this tournament at the Olympics, and how much it matters to him.
Yeah, and Chris, in the media center today, we talk about Djokovic and maybe the road to the gold medal, but we talked about a lot too about Nadal. For you, will Nadal end his career after the games or not?
I just knowing Nadal, it's he's going to do it totally 100% on his own terms, unless he just literally can't walk anymore. We know he can walk. We saw that today. He can still run, maybe not as fast as he used to run, but he's still and I think he probably feels in some way like he's making progress compared to where he was at. So he is definitely not ready to make any kind of announcement or decision. And his Olympics are not over yet. Even though he walked off of Chatrier today and waved goodbye, he's coming back tomorrow to at least to Long Glen tomorrow for the doubles with Alcaraz. They're playing tomorrow. So his Olympics is still going on, and he was pretty clear afterward. He said, I think his direct quote, I'll read it to you. He says, "When this tournament is over, I will make the decisions I need to make. I cannot be thinking all day long about whether this is my farewell in Paris. I'm coming back from 2 very difficult years with many physical problems. I haven't been able to get continuity. I've given myself some time to see if I can recover, but I cannot spend my time thinking every day if this is it or not." So I get it. He wants to be in the moment, and I personally think he's going to play on. I think he's going to try to keep going as long as he could analyze this match a couple different ways. He could say, well, I'm really not going to be competitive again, or he could say, hey, the way that match ended, when I was playing better, or the way I played the first set the other day when I played against I'm blanking here on the his Hungarian opponent. Sorry.
Fucsovic is the first.
Yeah, thank you very much. So your Hungarian is better than mine. Vucevic, when he played the first set, amazing performance. So he definitely has had some A game in him. But I think he's going to play on until later in the season for sure. He got Davis Cup perhaps ahead, other things. So we'll see. But there was no doubt, even though it was a mismatch in some ways, it was the biggest men's match of the day. Yeah. How do you see the women's draw, Romain?
Oh, Chris, it was fully in the women's draw too. And the first players on the cours Philippe Chatrier, like we said in French, this morning, was no one else than the world number one, Iga Świątek. And after a strong start, Iga lost just 2 games and flew to an inevitable victory, 6-1, 6-1 in 1 hour and 14 minutes. And she was imperious on her serve, offering no break points to Diane Parry, the French woman over the net. And she was also, suffocating on her returns, winning 57th point on Parry's serve. So after the match, Parry just explained that she had been impressed by Iga, of course, and that she was like unbeatable. And I think Roland Garros fan can only agree with that. And Chris, I have to tell you that because we could almost forget because of her incredible domination and the size of her trophy cabinet, especially here in Port d'Auteuil. But the Pole only turned 23 in May and is competing in her second Olympic Games. She's still young, very young. And at Tokyo, she was eliminated in the quarterfinals on the mixed doubles with Hubert Hurkacz, and in the second round of the women's singles by Paula Badoza. And so Świątek has already done better in singles this time around, playing like at home here at Port d'Auteuil, and after a solid but probably more difficult start than expected against Irina Camelia Begu in the first one. This was the match where Iga became Iga again. Yeah, and she stays in the race to become the second player in history to win Roland Garros and the Olympics in the same year after Steffi Graf in 1988. So I guess, Chris, this is a very bad news for competitors because yeah, she's back at her best level, and for the future women in the draw, starting with China's Xiyu Wang. I guess is I hope is the right pronunciation. Xiyu Wang, who defeated Diana Schneider on Monday morning to book a third round meeting with Świątek. Yeah, and maybe in the draw our biggest rival will perhaps be Coco Gauff, who continued her fine form against Maria Lourdes Carlet today, 6-1, 6-1. Chris, it was impressive too.
Yeah, as we all know, Coco hasn't had a lot of success against Iga Świątek on any surface. It's been really a bête noire for her. She's going to sling some French around, and definitely she has beaten her the one time last year in the hardcourt season in the North America. But that's always, I think, going to favor Iga, at least for the short term. But Coco's got an interesting match tomorrow as well. She plays Donna Vekic.
Yes.
Vekic was a semifinalist at Wimbledon, and after having a very tough Roland Garros, very emotional defeat against Olga Danilovic, that really set her back. She bounced back at Wimbledon. Had a tough time there too. I think she kind of hit a wall emotionally and physically in the match against Jasmine Paolini, but she got through that and has come back playing good tennis here in Paris and switched back to the clay. And she and Coco have actually never played, so it'll be interesting to see how they navigate that. And I honestly think it could be a competitive match. I think Coco's mobility and ability to defend against Vekic's big shots probably will make a difference there if Coco plays at her level. But I'm looking forward to that. And I'm also looking very much forward to watching more of Angelique Kerber, who is one of the big stories of the tournament. We haven't talked about it as much because of all the Nadal, Djokovic, Alcaraz, Nadal, Alcaraz, you name it. It's been tough to get a whole lot of Angie Kerber in there, but she certainly deserves it. I mean, she is 36 years old. This is going to be her last tournament. Like Andy Murray, she's announced at that age she's going to retire, and she keeps pushing it back, just like Andy Murray. Maybe Nadal should have thought about making some declarations here because their tennis seems to be doing just great. And she came in here losing 4 straight matches, including round 1 at the French in Wimbledon, and she beat Naomi Osaka in round 1. And today she beat Jacqueline Christian 6-4, 3-6, 6-4. So two tough three setters, and has looked very, free in her head, free in her game. And she's such a great counterpuncher, fun to watch. And it's nice to see her have a resounding final tournament, however it goes from here. And she plays Leylah Fernandez tomorrow in the third round, which will be a treat to watch if you know their styles of play. They've only played once. Leylah beat her in 2021, upset her at the U.S. Open on her way to the final when Leylah Fernandez had her big breakthrough. But that should be a real connoisseurs match, and I hope Angie Kerber gets sort of the farewell that she deserves with her 3 Grand Slam singles titles, former number one, and has made a lot of fans for the sport over the years.
Too many stories to talk about, Chris, on the men and on the women. And just one thing, another favorite shown on Monday, and twice, not just one. Jasmine Paolini beats Magda Linette 6-4, 6-1 in singles, and after that she won doubles with Sarah Irani, and they will face Frenchie's Garcia Paris. And they all trained together before the games. It was like one set in practice. And Garcia just told us about this match. Like they have a lot of experience and numerous achievements. They are having a great year together, and she's just smiling about this one. She said, "Paolini, we can say that at the moment she's playing well."
Oh yeah, she certainly is playing well with the French Open and Wimbledon finals. Amazing, and she looks very, very good here. I saw her walking around the grounds and laughing and enjoying herself, and with her Italian teammates. So she's certainly going to be a danger here. How about the men? Really quickly, Romain, give us a quick update on a couple of the favorites on the men's side.
Yeah, I will make it quick. It was, I guess, a difficult day for several of seeded players who managed to win at the end. Casper Ruud missed the start of his match, but recovered to beat Vavasori in 3 sets. Francisco Cerundolo beat Hugo Humbert. I'm triste. I'm sad, Chris. For Hugo.
You're so sad you can't say it in English. I understand. You got to say it in your native language.
Yeah, Francisco won 7-5 in the third set, and clay court specialist Sebastian Baez had all the trouble in the world beating the surprise of the draw, Lebanon's Benjamin Assad in the third set tiebreak. No doubt, Chris, the Lebanese player will remember his Olympic adventure for the rest of his life.
Yeah, it looked a little bit like maybe Talon Griekspoor might remember this Olympic adventure for the rest of his life in the second set against Carlos Alcaraz tonight. He was pretty tight second set, even though Alcaraz won the first, and then Alcaraz went off corpus and treatment late in the second set, and then it was a tight tiebreaker. So I'm sure Griekspoor was starting to believe a little bit, but Alcaraz is just exceptional when it comes to being audacious in those big moments. Came back and won, and now he's going to face Roman Safiullin, the big ripping neutral from a certain large country we cannot name. And Safiullin actually has a 1-0 edge over Alcaraz in Paris. He beat him last year in the Paris indoors, upset him there. So we'll see what that brings. I think with Alcaraz can bring his A game or his A- or B+ game. He's got to be the favorite. But it's interesting knowing that history. How about the doubles, Romain?
Oh, the doubles, Chris. There will be 3 surprises today in doubles. In the men's doubles, top seed Vavasori and Bolelli, finalists here a few weeks ago, lost to the Spaniard Carreno Busta and Granollers. And just at the end of the day, defending champions Mektit Pavic also lost to the Struff Kopfer pair. And you talk about Kopfer previously. Definitely, a great day for him. And just one word on the mixed double, because the number 1 seed is very often Sigrun, lost to the Czechs Machac Siniakova, Chris.
Let me just say that tomorrow, quickly, doubles is going to be the really put in the spotlight on the Long Glen court, number 2 court here. You got Alcaraz and Nadal playing Griekspoor and Kohlhoff, which is a good team. Griekspoor again against Alcaraz. And then you have Dan Evans and Andy Murray, not yet retired, playing against Gilles and Vliegen from Belgium.
Yeah.
So that's going to be kind of a doubles highlight reel from that court tomorrow night. And we've also got, looking ahead to tomorrow, we've got the ITF's World Tennis Predictor Game, which is the game that we've launched this year. the Olympics, and you must choose a winner from 3 Olympic matches each day. If you make the most correct picks at the end of the event, you will get some fabulous prizes. Tomorrow's matches, we talked about a couple of them. Vekic versus Goff. Emma Navarro from the United States against Qinwen Zheng of China. It'll be a really, really good insider women's match there.
Yes.
And then Evans and Murray against Gile and Vliegen in the doubles match. But I wanted to launch you as we finish up here, Romain, on this new thing we're going to do. I want you to help us. I want you to help us with our French when it comes to tennis, since we are here at Roland Garros. And how are you going to do that? You're going to give us something we can use, news we can use.
Yeah, you have to practice your French, Chris, even if you speak a really good French. But earlier we were talking about Alcaraz, and he saved a set point in a magnificent fashion by I think desperately coming up to the net. And do you know what we say in French when a player just throw himself at the net without a hop in hell?
Tell me, Romain, tell me.
Monter en chaussettes.
to come to the net in your socks. I like that.
Yeah. And even in this way, Alcaraz managed a brilliant drop shot to win the point. So yeah, it's Carlos Alcaraz.
Well, I can tell you, I've come to the net in my socks a few times without knowing I have. And I'm glad to hear I'm glad to hear the phrase. And Alcaraz is going to need more of that audacity to get to the gold here if he does. Or the golds, plural, with Nadal and doubles. Yes. We'll see what it all brings. Thanks to everybody for listening tonight. Thank you, Romain, and appreciate everybody being along here, helping us build this new review show. We will see you tomorrow.